Now, it can be a little difficult with the camera I'm using to zoom in and clearly see the things I want to show you. So what I've done is I've made a CAD drawing of the scale. Okay, and we're going to look at that 1 foot standard imperial ruler on the edge of our architect scale. And we're going to talk about how do you take measurements with this and what do all the small divisions mean. Okay, so now one of the things that distinguishes the scale from a ruler is on rulers often you start at the edge of the ruler to start taking your measurements, right? You go all the way to the left edge and that's where the measurement begins. With a scale though, it's not like that. Do you see where the 0 is? See, anything that we measure, we're going to start here at the 0 and then we're going to move on to the right. Now, taking a measurement from the 0 and moving to the right, if we landed exactly, precisely on any of these whole numbers, well, it would be very easy to figure out what measurement we're talking about, right? It's nice and precise. 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Of course, that's not always going to be the case. It's not always going to land exactly and perfectly on a whole inch. So you have two options. Option one is you can estimate. Now, estimating might be okay for some things, but not for technical drawing, not for measuring things that need to be fabricated or built or manufactured. See, we have to have a little bit more precision than just estimating. So we're going to learn how to break the scale down, break the edge of the imperial ruler down into its smaller components, and then work with them. To get started with this, I invite you to take a piece of paper. It could be lined paper, could be white paper, but you want to hold it like this. You want to hold it long ways left to right, landscape style. And then take a pencil or a marker or something that you can make a nice dark line with. And what I'd like you to do is just around the left edge, I'd like you to make a nice long dark line. Okay? And then over on the right edge, I'd like you to do the same thing. Just a little bit before the edge, I would like you to make another line just as long and just as dark. Okay, and then what we're going to do is on the left-hand edge of the paper, we're going to write 0, and over on the right-hand side of the paper, we're going to write 1. And now what we're doing is we're doing something I found works very well with people that don't know how to read the markings on the ruler. It allows us to teach it to somebody very effectively. So if you already know how to read a ruler, then just watch this demonstration, because someday you will probably be teaching somebody else, and this works every time. I have very few students that have ever told me, boy, that's confusing and I don't know how to do it. So even if you're a pro at reading the ruler, watch the demo. This might be helpful to you to teach someone else. Now, if you've never read the ruler before, don't worry about it. It's not as intimidating as you think. So what we've done here, though, is we've taken our 1 inch, 0 to 1, on the end of the scale, and we've blown it up, right? We've magnified it. And in doing this, we're going to get a little hands-on experience with how it's broken up. And when we're done, we'll have a cheat sheet to work with too. Okay, so now finding whole inches is easy because they are marked. There are a lot of other marks on here though. The fact is 1 whole inch is not really that small. We need finer measurements, something a little bit more precise. So to begin, what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of paper and we're going to take the right hand side and fold it over the left. And put one on top of the other, and then carefully put a crease in the middle, and then open it back up. And now what you just created is a seam right in the middle, and that seam is going to represent where the 1/2 inch mark is. It's exactly in the middle between 0 and 1, right? So let's go in. Now let's put in a nice, heavy, dark mark, exactly, perfectly right in the middle on our crease. And underneath it, let's write 1/2. Alright, so starting at the 0, are you able to find the half-inch increments? So we see here, if we look on the screen, our red line is going to the longest line exactly in the middle between the 0 and the 1, and that would be 1/2 inch. See, if you look closely, the little lines between the whole numbers have different lengths, right? And the reason they do is so it's easy for you to distinguish one increment from another. So here is 1/2 inch, and then 1 inch, and then the next 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 3.5 inches. We should be able to look on the scale and see where the 1/2 inches are, and you can estimate with your eye to more or less the location, right? It's the longest line between any whole numbers. 1 to 2, where's 1.5? Well, there's 1.5 right there. 2 to 3, where's 2.5? 2.5's right there. All right, so once you pick up your scale, I want you to attempt to find the 1/2 inch increments, right? 6.5, 7.5, just by eye. Okay, it'll be the longest line in between any two whole numbers.